What's up, everybody? Welcome to Own the Chaos. My name is Brad. That is Fat Man Zoom. The stock market is crazy and chaotic, and we made it our mission to help you guys own it. And Fat Man Zoom, why don't we hit everybody off with a starting five?
Starting five is Zane Kahn, Sean Ethier, Arnie Vaneker, Trevor Magson, and Philip Stroh. You are starting five, and welcome to Own the Chaos. We are live again, back for more. We're live every Monday through Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time to talk about what's going on in the market. There's been a lot going on in the market. I really want to make sure we touch on, obviously, the offerings had by Peloton and Clover. We have Tattooed Chef news that just came about that a couple people in Discord were talking about. And definitely want to talk about the EVs and some upcoming IPOs in general. But how's everything going for you today? How's the account treating you?
Good. I'm having a really nice bounce back day. Made a trade.
Yeah.
Ended up selling the rest of my Visa calls, which treated me very well. Took that profit and rolled it into Macy's and rolling the dice on Macy's earnings this week.
Nice. I mean, retail numbers came out this morning, and just more affirmation on what our thesis is, which is just we remain bullish on retail.
Yep.
And expectations are actually people are shopping earlier because of the supply chain, concerns about the supply chain and delays. It's funny because I was talking to everybody today who had a couple of refunds on Amazon because their stuff just didn't show up. I've had seen some delays on Amazon as well, but I'm typically like a late shopper. I'm not big into buying gifts, so I'll just kind of wait till the last minute.
Yeah.
Even I'm like, hey, I already got some stuff yesterday, which is ridiculously early for me to start getting stuff. So if I'm shopping early, I can't imagine the people that are actually like shoppers,
yeah.
how much shopping they've done. So we kind of reaffirm that. Personally, I had a good day, whereas some people had challenging days yesterday. I had a good day. However, today, not so good. Clover had an offering, dropped pre-market like over 10%, but they had a $35 million offering. And this is what I want to talk about because...
Hold on one sec.
Yeah.
Can I just pause you? I don't want to ruin your flow.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to talk about Dick's because I knew you were getting ready to get into Clover.
Yeah.
Dick's went off. Let me just tell you how much I love Dick's.
All right, let's hear
it. We talked about this in our watch list, guys.
Yeah.
If you have not checked out the Own the Chaos watch list, please go do so. We put this on the watch list last week. We said that we thought that Dick's was going to break out. If you guys want to go check out the watch list and get it for absolutely free, go to ownthechaos.com, put your email in there and become part of the Chaos Crew. The link is in the description, but we talked about Dick's being a buy down here at 130. It's now sitting at 138, obviously on the heels of some of that news. But I am in Dick's. I love Dick's. It's treating me well.
Can't get enough Dick's.
Can't get enough.
Yeah, I mean, okay. But this is the story in retail. Under Armour, same thing. I mean, pick a stock, really, as far as retail is concerned. Under Armour had a meeting today. Same thing. Bullishness. It's literally like this is just the storyline.
Yeah.
I'm personally in Foot Locker for their earnings on Friday. They've been lagging others, and I think they should still do. I mean, I think they're going to play catch up. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But I think at this point, should be considering retail, should already be in retail, but if you're not, I would be considering certain retail. So
100%.
We'll definitely keep an eye on that. But I know a lot of you, I did want to bring the Clover conversation because I know a lot of you are in Clover or were in Clover and just had some thoughts. It was very frustrating to hear that they would do an offering. The interesting thing about it, and we can get into sort of what this means, but more importantly, I want to point out, they do a $35 million offering, drop by 10%. Peloton does a $1 billion offering and goes up 10%. Absolute just ridiculousness.
Yeah, well, so Clover was 35 million shares.
Sorry, 35 million shares. You're right.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't actually see what the dollar amount was. Did you happen to catch that?
No, but I'm sure it was probably around $7 a share. So
it's probably a lot versus a little.
245 million.
Yeah.
So let's just say $250,000, $250 million, and $1 billion. So 4 times as much is probably a conservative estimate.
Yeah.
$46 a share was the price of the offering for Peloton.
I can't believe Peloton and the move that it's had. The only explanation I could give, and I gave this to our level 3 folks, our Chaos Crew folks. Again, go check out the links in the description. We go live every morning, and we had this discussion with our level 3 folks in the Chaos Crew talking about why this could be. And I brought up an example of Tesla doing the same thing early 2020, pre-COVID, just before COVID hit. Tesla had like a monster move. This is kind of like the start of when Tesla really started to go parabolic. And then they issued a like a $5 billion offering at that time. And they mentioned they were going to use the capital to put towards the plant in Germany. Stock goes crazy.
Yeah.
Because investors were happy with where the money was actually going.
Yep.
They made it clear why they were making the offering. Investors liked it. Stock goes crazy. I don't know. I mean, Peloton didn't really seem to make it clear exactly what they're doing with the money other than they just needed it.
Yep.
And I mean, it didn't seem like there was any kind of difference. So I could justify the move if it was like, oh, okay, Peloton's going to do this to expand their business. They're going to use it for CapEx, whatever. But that's not the case, at least not yet. I haven't really seen anything come out. And I would encourage anybody, let us know in the comments if you've seen anything. But I was digging around forever. And I was just like, you know what? There's really just no explanation here for me.
Yeah, I heard it was similar. Honestly, I heard it was similar to Clover, which was they had obviously they had revised expectations and guidance because of not as much demand as they thought. Here's the thing people need to remember is right when COVID happened, right when the pandemic happened and stay at home, they had a ridiculous amount of demand that they couldn't accommodate. So they started to ramp up really quickly.
Yeah.
And that they had to fulfill, like there was like ridiculous delays and customer service issues. So they ramped up. And then all of a sudden, because you don't know when that ends, now you have excess supply because everything's in a delay. Everything's like is like latency.
Yeah.
So you might make a move now, but you won't feel that for 3 months. So you ramp things up and you start producing to that level, and then all of a sudden the demand goes away. You got to satisfy the demand. Like you have to increase supply, but unfortunately this is what happens. Then once demand goes down, you have a surplus, you have to discount, you're not making the same margins, whatever. And that's the situation they're in, where it seems like it's a similar situation, which is just because we don't have the money coming in like we thought we would. This is kind of a stopgap as far as that's concerned. And that's not a good thing. And so Clover just cash for operations is not a great thing, to your point. If you're investing in it where there's going to be an ROI, yes, you can see the stock go up. But if you are just taking it out to maintain operations, that's not a great investment. So yeah. I think that basically this money gets given back. I think all like the 10%, I think we start seeing it come back down. I honestly am interested to hear what analysts think about this. And I think that's ultimately going to be sort of the barometer for how the sentiment is. But the reality is $1 billion is a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I would be a little bit nervous. Again, Peloton's going to be fine for the long term. But if they felt the need to raise this, it'll be interesting. Now, if it goes back down to 46, essentially one of those situations like a Drive Shack situation where like you have like a nice established support. So
yeah,
I would get in at 46 if it comes back down.
Yeah, the interesting story with Peloton, and you hit a couple of points. The one thing that I'll just bring to it is that Peloton was considered a startup pre-pandemic. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they get thrown into this, oh, it's a big player, it's a large cap stock now, and in the tech space, like it's going to continue to rock and roll and be a thing. And to be fair, I was a little bit of a prisoner of the moment too, just because of just how much demand was coming in. So at that point in time, they were still operating as if they were a startup. And then all of a sudden they kind of get thrown to the wolves essentially. And I think now it's kind of like they have an opportunity to take a breather. So they take the money out. I don't think it's necessarily keep up with operations, but maybe just to kind of like tighten up some of the areas that kind of got away from them operationally. So I mean, I'm just theorizing, just speculating here that could be it. I don't really have a better explanation for Clover, but that's just kind of like the way that I saw it, you know, as things were developing this morning and the reactions that we got from both of them.
Yeah, and Clover did try to come back. I think a lot were worried about a further sell-off, but hopefully it stays up around this $7 range. Honestly, I'm not too worried about that, like the situation of them doing an offering. It's not a great look, but the reality is every earnings has improved. So unfortunately, it's just been a dog on the market. However, they are seeing growth and they are seeing movement. Just might be a long ride for this one. As far as Peloton's concerned, just kind of a last thought on that. I think that really, like the catalyst perspective, I don't know how much is going to come from bikes. Really, we haven't heard much about treadmills, which is a little bit surprising.
Yeah.
But until they launch the rower or talk about commercial partnerships, I think this is going to continue to just kind of be a laggard as well.
Yeah.
I don't see this. I see this struggling for some time. Just because it did get ahead of itself, and we have had no indication of when those rowers are going to come out.
Right.
And even then, them coming out could be a catalyst, but we're going to have numbers. I'm hoping the bike tread starts ramping up and people start getting into it, but I really haven't. I haven't heard about the demand of that one. Like I haven't heard people buying it. Lastly, though, I do think Mirror is going to be a monster next year. For Lululemon.
Yeah, I think Mirror and even Tonal. I've seen a lot of interest in the Tonal platform too. So like there's definitely some competitors coming into the space. Regardless of any of that, I still think that the work out from home is also going to continue to be here to stay. So once Peloton starts to grow into its valuation, it'll be fine. I don't think it's going anywhere. There's a lot of analysts out there that are like, this is the beginning of the end of working out from home, which I just simply don't agree with. Yeah. I think that there's going to be enough room in this space for people who want to go back to the gym and people who want to work out from home.
Yeah. So we'll keep an eye on that. I'm excited about seeing where this space can go, but I agree with you. I think it's going to continue to do well for the long term and it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
What else aren't going anywhere are EVs, and definitely, EVs have been a monster. Rivian IPO continues to roll. Tesla had a good bounce back. Lucid had the market responded favorably to the earnings. I don't want to say they had a great earnings, but they had earnings and the market has responded thusly, and it's had a good move as well. So I just wanted to talk about that because Rivian can't be stopped.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane. I don't understand.
I mean, is this just the EV hype?
They sold 150 cars. 150.
Have they delivered any yet?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They've delivered like I want to say like 25 or something like that. pretty solid numbers.
That's wild.
The company is now valued at somewhere around 150 billion, some thereabouts. It's actually somewhere around 150 billion, I want to say. So we're now in some crazy ass territory. Ford, this is the interesting part. Maybe I'm getting a little bit too early into the Ford conversation, but I have it on my mind. Ford invested in this with $500 million.
Yeah.
And that $500 million, so they own 12% of Rivian. At the time that they invested in, Rivian invited them to be on the board of directors. They've since then stepped down. Rivian basically was just like, we're going to go in a different direction. We appreciate the help that Ford has gotten us to this point, all that good stuff. Seems like it was more of like an amicable breakup, and then Ford just continued to hold on to their investments. That $500 million investment's now worth, at this point, around $17 billion.
Yeah.
So that's a third of Ford's market cap at this point. And if I'm Ford and I have no reason to continue to hold on to this stock, I would be out. I would be out. I'd be taking my money, laughing all the way to the bank. Thanks, Rivian. Thanks, everybody. We're going to go take this huge chunk of money and pour it back in the EVs and then run the table with as much as we can. It's particularly, obviously, with the pickup trucks, which I think that they will do. And I think that they will sell. Will they sell all of it? Maybe, maybe not. But I think that you would be an idiot if you didn't see this type of run and didn't sell something, didn't take something off the table.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes to my next question, which Jeff Panika said he bought. Well, I don't know if he actually did this, but he's saying Rivian puts for next year. The question is it time to short Rivian? You've alluded to it. Are you thinking about shorting this, or is it just too much of like a meme? I don't want to say meme, but just too much hype to even try to risk it.
I think right now there's too much hype to try to risk it. There will be an opportunity to short this stock, and it's going to be glorious. I don't short anything, by the way. I even
Yeah.
tweeted that out. If you guys go follow me at In the Chaos, I was like, I don't short anything. This might be the one thing that I short. The last time I shorted something was Nikola. I usually only do it when it's like a sure thing. And this might be a point to this might come down to a point to where it makes sense to do so. It's just insane. It just doesn't make any sense. And I think that today, I think the big catalyst is just that options could be traded with this today.
Yeah.
The options, chain ended up opening up today. So I think that's probably what's generating a lot of excitement. But at some point, it's just going to get way too out of hand. Wait till earnings come out.
Yeah.
And they have like nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
That's when I think that we'll the reality could potentially start to set in for this.
I want to ask the Chaos crew, since you guys aren't, since you guys are just hanging out, we can't check stuff. But if anybody knows the lockup expiration, I don't know if that's out immediately or if that takes time.
It's usually 180 days.
But if anybody knows that date, throw it in the chat, because that would be interesting as well. I think the earnings date and the lockup expiration are two very interesting dates, and those will continue to roll. Actually, it kind of leads to my next thing, which was the SEV. So Kambiz Amadi said, speaking of EV hype, any thoughts on Sonos Motors? Ticker symbol SEV, IPO is tomorrow. Thanks for that. I appreciate it, Kambiz, because a lot of dates said today, and it didn't go IPO today. So it will tomorrow. Sweetgreen's already IPO tomorrow. But SEV, it's interesting. It's a solar EV. They're running off of solar power. What do you think about that? Like, do you think it's just kind of one of those things like SPACs last year? Any SPAC's going to run? Is it just any EV, SEV going to run on IPO?
Yeah, so you had brought this to my attention. I didn't even know it was a thing. You brought this to my attention right before we went live. And I had a lot of questions, and maybe some folks in the comments can kind of bring some things to light here, because my thoughts on this were like, is the sun its only power source? Because if it is, we have a week-long, weather pattern of clouds, you're probably not going anywhere. Now, if the concept is that it's plug-in and then it gets like supplemental power from solar energy, then maybe there's something there. I don't know. This seems kind of a bit weak.
So I don't know, but I can't imagine that they haven't thought of that. I don't think you launch a solar company without thinking about,
sure,
what if there's an area with no solar? You literally have like eliminate a large portion of your market. So I will say, I don't think it matters. I like, even if it doesn't, I don't think people care. I think people are trying to find the next big thing. FYI, their IPO price is $14 to $16. They're looking for a valuation of $1 billion. So that's another thing to potentially consider. That's a sexy car.
It's not. It's not. But, hold on a second. So this is called the Scion.
Not to be confused
with the actual Scion.
SCION.
It looks like a damn Scion.
A Scion's probably look better than that.
Like the Scion XB, like the toaster on wheels?
No, I was thinking of the sedan.
Oh, like the yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't remember what that one was, but yeah, like. So you just took the C out and called it Scion. All right, solar. Let me just take a look. So the car, let's just see. While we're live, range of 305 kilometers, which still isn't really competitive.
So a spacious electric car. So it implies that there is.
Look, there's like moss in the dash.
This is like the Beetle of EVs. It's like so niche.
Yeah. 248 solar cells seamlessly integrated into the body of the car. Per week, driving range in the car's battery through the power of the sun. It creates full self-sufficiency in short distances. So it has to be, yeah, okay. So here we go. So that's the concept. So it's gonna gain some of its power from the sun. You also plug it in. So interesting take, I will say. I don't know how far this goes though.
I think that's catchy.
Yeah.
Tesla could probably do it better. Maybe they do that in the future. If you think about it.
I would like. Why wouldn't have Tesla? I'm sure Tesla would have already thought about this.
Maybe they're going to do it. You know what I mean? But
maybe.
Tesla's got a lot of things that they have on their plate. So if this does potentially work, it sounds like it's just a niche in a way for it to separate itself. Given that Nikola, which had nothing, was a monster, I got to believe that every EV is going to do well.
That's fair.
Like $1 billion market cap versus 100 and what'd you say? 150, 170 billion is what? Nearly at 200 billion. $1 billion, $14. I feel like people would just scoop it up to scoop it up. However, Rivian actually does look good. There's a market for that.
Yeah.
A lot of the other ones look good, but literally Nikola had nothing and they still were a monster.
True.
So we'll be live for that. I mean, we'll have the answer tomorrow to see how that goes, but the IPO is tomorrow.
Here's the other thing. It actually is somewhat affordable, and maybe that's the edge that people will start to gravitate towards. It's 28,500 euros. I don't know what that equates to, but I think it's somewhere around 30 grand.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
35 grand.
Philip Stroh says that's a chick magnet. Yeah.
Hey, looks like there's a lot of room in the back seat. I'm just saying.
Yeah, so that's another IPO. Sweetgreen IPO. We're going to be alive tomorrow. We've already talked about it, but I'm probably more excited about that one than I would say this Sono EV.
Yeah.
But Sweetgreen should be exciting. I don't even remember the last. I'm kind of putting you on the spot. I don't need this answer, but in theory, I don't remember the last like hospitality food IPO.
Yeah.
Do you know offhand?
The last hospitality food IPO. I mean, the last big one that I really kind of remember this year would have been like a Krispy Kreme.
Okay, yeah, I forgot about that.
And they did really well. Their last earnings actually crushed it.
Yeah, that also has a cult, which Sweetgreen also, you can argue that Sweetgreen has a cult as well. So yeah, excited about that. We will see. A lot of people have some thoughts about the Sono car, the Scion. So it'll be fun to see those. But those have been obviously on a monster run. Before we get into our last topic, I just want to make sure everybody sticks around because do we even really have earnings? Well, I mean, we'll be live. We'll continue to stay live after 4:00.
Yeah.
Let us know if you guys are interested in any of the earnings. There's not any that necessarily stand out. Maybe Lazy Boy you're interested in.
Is Honest reporting today? The Honest company? Or did they already report?
It may be. I can pull it up and see. And we could talk a little bit about, if there's not too much, we'll talk about earnings that happened this morning.
They already reported.
They did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Looks like they did pretty well, actually.
But I wanted to talk about Tattooed Chef. So let everybody know what happened with Tattooed Chef.
It is a dumpster fire. I was trying to find something that was not too harsh, but got the point across. I was gonna say clusterfuck. It's probably a clusterfuck at this point. So that we thought that we were gonna get earnings from Tattooed Chef last week, and that was according to Earnings Whispers. Usually, sometimes they're off, and that's fine. Woody just kind of dismissed it, but they were supposed to report earnings today after hours, and they just released it right before, right as we scheduled this stream. Put out a filing, what's called a 12B25 filing. And basically, it's just a late filing saying that they're going to delay their 10Q. If you don't know what a 10Q is, it's their quarterly filing. There's a 10K and a 10Q. A 10K is an annual report. There's an annual report and then there's a 10K. But this is a 10Q, which is their quarterly report that they put out with their earnings. That's where you get all those numbers from. They delayed it. There's very interesting commentary on this. So they delayed it, and we're supposed to get the full 10K on the 22nd now. That's when we're supposed to hear from them. Very interesting commentary here, Fat Man Zoom. And it raises a lot of questions here. The company's audit committee, which is comprised entirely of independent outside directors, is currently undergoing an internal review of the company's assessment of recently identified material errors and its previously issued financial statements related to the classification of certain accounts. The company will be working diligently and currently expects yada, yada, yada. So it's like they don't have their shit together. And not only that, but if we go back to the entire filing, we come back down here to the numbers here. You guys can't really see this. Let me zoom in for you so you can kind of take a gander here. So the revenue came in at 58.8 million over the last quarter. So they at least gave us that number. And according to estimates of what people were expecting, they missed that number abysmally as well. So as if it wasn't bad enough that they're going to be putting out a late filing due to basically their own screw ups, they also missed revenue as well. So growth is slow. And I had this whole spiel about how I was concerned about Tattooed Chef because of the way that we saw Beyond Meat react.
Yeah.
We saw what was the other one that Oatly shit the bed last week. So like a lot of these fad or I guess super niche food companies are really kind of been taking a beating, and Tattooed Chef, as I expected, is also doing as well.
Yeah, so they expected $64 million, so definitely a considerable miss. Yeah, this is certainly an aptitude, and I would imagine somebody's got to fall on the knife for this one, or fall on the sword for this one.
Yeah.
I don't see how you can just like act like you push it back twice and act like nothing happened. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's starting to be some shakeups with Tattooed Chef. And it's funny how they wrote their how they kind of like try to downplay it like it's immaterial, no big deal.
Yeah.
You're just trying to cover your ass at this point. This is not good.
It's bad. And really, we've been talking about this for the last several months because we know, okay, not going to name any names. You know who it is. Okay. Created a lot of hype around this in the trading community. And we have people come to our community and they're like, what do you think about Tattooed Chef? And we've hated it basically since it's been brought up, and it's done nothing but trend down ever since. For a year, this has trended down.
Yeah.
And so this just goes on to show exactly what our thoughts were with the company and the industry itself and where it's headed. I just don't see how they overcome this, especially in a time where people are consuming things.
Yeah.
So like if you're going to spend money on dumb shit, you would think that this would do well, and it's just not.
Yeah, any of those are really challenging to be a part of. Side note, I do want to shout out Dan Dalton for the donation. Appreciate the donation, bud.
Oh yeah, thanks. I saw that you donated twice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Thanks, man. Look at this chart though. It's just ugly as hell.
Yeah.
And now we're getting below 50. We're getting ready to get below 52-week lows. And there's nothing that you can say or do to convince me to buy this at all. Period.
Yeah, it's a hard case to make from a bullish perspective. Looks like Penn took down new high a day at close, says Rudy Brown.
That had a heck of a comeback. Red the green.
Penn with the comeback. Still
sucks.
Shitty chart.
Yep. But that's all right. I'll take a green day.
Let us know if you guys want us to check out any specific earnings. I really honestly don't care about any other ones.
Yeah.
So if you want us to look at ones, if you have numbers you want to shout out, go ahead and do that. Greg Explorer asked about what about GGPI? What about GGPI? What is there a specific question surrounding that?
Yeah, give us some context.
Polestar. I don't think. Do they have earnings? I don't think they have earnings. Well, their earnings actually don't really matter.
No,
because it hasn't concluded their reverse merger.
They're not technically. Yeah, the merger hasn't completed yet. But the stock's up 4% today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I did want to talk to you.
This thing has gone crazy.
I did want to mention crypto. I didn't want to leave today without talking about crypto. We rarely put it on the watch list, but I wanted to put it on the watch list today just because it's been running so hot. And I specifically put Bitcoin there. But we talked about their support. I mean, Ethereum's down 8%, about 4,200, and Bitcoin fell below 60K. It's down 6%.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that?
So I had talked about this on Stockwatch Sunday. We actually had the conversation, if this actually continues to pull back, where would be a reasonable area to think about grabbing it. And I had mentioned 60,000. The reason why I came up with that is because I looked at this and saw that there's potential support around 60,000. And that's what I put in our watch list, which, by the way, again, if you want to go check that out, go to ownthechaos.com. We put out a watch list every single day before the market opens for free. The link is in the description. That's ownthechaos.com. But it's got me a little bit worried. I was actually a little encouraged by the fact that we saw this spike down below that 60K mark, and then it actually moved back up. I thought potentially if it held that area, that we should be in good shape, and it looked like a reasonable spot to either add to or maybe even enter if you're still, thinking about getting into Bitcoin. So that now at this point, it's looking a little scary. If it doesn't hold here around at least close to, we're only $200 off of 60K. So I'm not ready to like put the nail in the coffin yet. So if it holds this area, I think we're fine. And we could see a decent bounce. But why don't you go into a little bit as to why it's making this move? Because all of crypto is suffering today.
So this is speculation, and I mean, the easy answer is that China just talked more about imposing restrictions on. Basically, they just want to continue to clear out miners for crypto miners, and this is actually interesting because I'm interested in the sentiment on this because your first natural reaction is to be like, oh, that sucks. Why is government getting mixed in? But I do want to know what your feelings are on this. So what they mentioned was they're concerned about the energy usage, which a lot of people have been concerned about that in general. So this is their way of like, hey, if it's going to take up this much energy, if this is going to impact us, we're not going to be okay with it. So I don't know how much they would mind if it didn't use as much energy. I'm sure they would, but like that's their big angle. The other thing is, and I don't think people realize this, what they're doing is their big crackdown is apparently there's a lot of miners that like companies, they're mining companies that hire these miners, but they're paying residential electricity rates. So that's China's big thing. And I didn't even realize that until I was reading more up on it today, where they're like, well, they should be paying commercial rates. They're not. So anybody that tries to scam the system, we're going to levy higher fees. Like you're going to get penalized. I honestly don't really mind that.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, like
I don't either.
You're scamming the system. And if you get away with it, get away with it. But like, good for them for doing that. And like, that makes sense because I think this is going to be the future problem with crypto. Like you want to be the Wild West, you want to be the bad boys, you want to do all that. No way you establish legitimacy, like true legitimacy and global adoption without having some parameters and without actually like getting your stuff together. And that's my issue with crypto is like, they're kind of it's kind of the Wild West. It's kind of willy-nilly. And so you can't just like steal your neighbor's internet and be okay and think it's like okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and in that regard, I there's one thing that China is doing that I actually don't mind a whole lot.
Yeah.
And I think that this move down in crypto, just on that note, I think is a bit crazy. It's a little overreaction, but this is what happens in the Wild West of Bitcoin and Ethereum and all that. Yeah. I think this is just giving another opportunity to buy. This doesn't hurt Bitcoin in any way, shape, or form. We're already seeing kind of like a mass exodus from China anyway.
Yeah, that's already happened.
Miners are moving into the US. Yeah. So I think that this is more or less a nothing burger. We're probably going to wake up tomorrow and Bitcoin ends up being green again.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like most of the miners pretty much left immediately. And so the fact that they're continuing to penalize, I don't think that matters. I think that that's the thing about cryptos. You can do it anywhere in the world theoretically. So that's not a big deal. So people that have wanted an opportunity, this may be your opportunity. It could fall lower and it could hurt some more, but like you wanted your opportunity when it was at 66, 67, whatever.
Yeah.
Here it is. Ethereum could fall below 4K. You wanted that opportunity when it was at 4,800. Here it is. I, for one, I might wait a little bit more, but I think around 38 is where I would consider adding to Ethereum. I think is at 42 now. That's a pretty substantial drop, but for Ethereum, that's really nothing.
Yeah, well, for crypto in general, it's really nothing. Mm-hmm. It's just funny how I had mentioned, we had talked about that 60K mark being a potential area that it would pull back to or could pull back to. And then a catalyst brings it down to 60K just this week. So it's just crazy how things work like that. But yeah, looking at Ethereum right now, I would say 3,800 is probably a good spot. But I would venture the first stop for this could potentially be somewhere around 39.
Yeah.
Probably the more likely scenario. But, there's a case you can make that 4,000. It's got to break through 4,000 first. So this spot could be good. I like that it's down 7%. It gives you some pretty decent upside. And we look at Bitcoin, and it's nicely back up above 60. So I think that this is actually where it's going to end up holding off here.
Yeah, we'll see. As long as there's no other news, it should be okay. But all of crypto is pretty much down. Find whichever one you're excited about. Go find the one you like. Apparently, I didn't really check on Home Depot. Home Depot had a good day, right?
Oh
they
my
had
God, their
earnings
earnings were monstrous. Yeah, this is the frustrating thing about this, because Home Depot had great earnings, Walmart had great earnings, Walmart still didn't move, and actually turned red pre-market. But
Yeah.
yes, Home Depot had a 6% move, which bodes well for my home builder exposure. I have DR Horton, and that had a hell of a day. Almost got to $100 a share. Almost did. And those calls are just printing money. I got a strike there at 92.5 for May. And
Nice.
it's up a ton already. So I also have that crazy flyer at 125, and that's actually been moving up too, but still low volume there. But that's been crushing it. But Walmart, we talked about Walmart on Sunday for Stockwatch Sunday, and it closed the day red. It was down 2.5%. Here's the crazy part: they were selling it because they're talking about, their margins being shortened or being what's the word I'm looking for?
Squeezed.
Yes.
Shrink.
Because of some of the labor shortages and the increased costs due to the supply chain, all that good stuff. That is all still transitory stuff, in my opinion. And I think that Walmart's going to be worth grabbing the dip on. And the crazy part about this is that despite the margins decreasing some, they still smash earnings expectations, revenue, earnings per share, all that stuff. So despite the headwinds, they outperformed and they actually raised their guidance. So there was just so many good things with Walmart, and then the sell-off happened. So in my opinion, when stuff like that happens, when they have such a stellar quarter and you have something so tiny that affects the stock that way, it usually ends up presenting itself with an opportunity. Walmart's still crazy undervalued.
It is crazy undervalued. You look at it fundamentally. Feels kind of like Costco last year. I don't know if you remember it. Couldn't get going.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, Costco's at all-time highs. I think Walmart's going to be in the same situation where you're just going to turn around and you're like, wait, how'd you move back up and have those moves? Which, side note, talk about undervalued. Disney's down 12% on the year. I just want to remind people about that. That's just ridiculous.
Thanks, bro. Not like I'm not in it or anything.
Are you in it?
Yeah,
I didn't know. I'm just saying, these are huge opportunities.
Yeah,
Walmart,
they are.
Disney, all these companies are going to continue to roll.
Yeah,
are going to get back on track. Sorry.
So we talked about this. A lot of the stocks that got hit hard on earnings misses, and Disney didn't really miss that bad, and PayPal didn't really miss that bad. PayPal's actually started to move.
Yeah,
back. PayPal looks great right now. By the way, it was a toss up to me today. I was looking to get into either PayPal or Macy's. So I ended up getting the Macy's play anyway, but I still think that I'm going to be trying to find ways to get myself back into PayPal. But I think that you're right. I think some of the ones that just got completely beat down on barely missing earnings or something very small and trivial to give reasons to sell, I think are going to be opportunities. And that's how you find, trades in the market. You really don't go chasing after the stuff that's already moved.
Yeah. The other one I got my eye on, I'm hoping that Wynn pops over 100 before the end of the week. I hope.
You have calls on this, right?
Correct. Yes. I've leaps on this.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm cool with waiting around with this, but I feel like it's just ready to freaking blow over 100. So
yeah, so we're looking at a potential resistance here. It looks like it struggled to get above it today, but if it breaks over that, it should do well.
Yeah. Definitely still opportunities, guys. I know there are a lot of stuff that are near or that are at all-time highs, 52-week highs, but the reality is there's still a lot of opportunity out there.
100%. I would be trying to, if I had cash on the sideline and I was trying to figure out what I could buy and couldn't come up with a decision, PayPal is looking really good.
Yeah, PayPal looks great. And that's the thing is these are great companies that are going to be here for years to come.
Yep.
And that's the great thing. It's not like we're saying to buy, Big C or a firm or stuff where they're speculative that we think they'll be around, but we're not sure. Disney will be around longer than any of us are on this planet.
Yes.
And so PayPal, I would imagine the same thing, and Wynn for sure the same thing as well. So we should be all right.
It's crazy to me that Disney is down that much on the year.
Yeah.
I have 180 calls, which are down 80%.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not touching it, obviously, and the expiration's way out in January. So I'm hoping that we at least start to make a little bit of a turnaround before then, and I think we should. But yeah, it's definitely been a struggle. I still, if you're not in Disney, I would be certainly scooping up this opportunity as well.
Yeah. By the way, how many people we have in the house?
We got 177 of you guys hanging out, so appreciate that. If you guys wouldn't mind hitting that thumbs up, that would be also appreciated. And if you're not already part of the Chaos crew, make sure that you're going down into the description and go on to onlychaos.com. We can put out a free watch list for all of our Chaos crew members every single day. And link is in the description. Again, that's onlychaos.com. But it's been a great last couple of weeks, man. We'll see some new faces in here. It's been awesome.
By the way, I didn't realize that Disney and Snapchat had a partnership.
Yeah, they just announced that today, I think. I just saw the headline. I didn't see exactly what it entailed.
Yeah, it looks like the new Disney Photo Pass augmented reality lens debuts at Walt Disney Resort. Snapchat lenses are coming to My Disney Experience app. Not sure how big of a deal this is, but this is cool, a little partnership. And obviously, again, to what we speak about with Snapchat, engaging the younger demographic, even younger. So they'll continue to make inroads there, I'm sure.
Yeah, I agree. We still love Snap. I mean, Snap is the augmented reality side of Snap is really what gives them the upper hand. And there really isn't another platform out there that has gone as far with it as Snapchat has at this point. So there's a lot of companies playing catch up. Obviously, remain to be seen if one of them does. But you know, with all this chatter about the metaverse and everything else, Snap is certainly very much in that conversation.
Yeah. Jags asked, "Hey, fat man, you buying Clover under 7?" I was thinking about that today. Probably yes. Yes. The other thing I wanted to mention is for tomorrow. So, guys, tomorrow we have an exciting day tomorrow after hours. So make sure you hit the subscribe and notification bell so you're notified when we go live. 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. We have NVIDIA tomorrow. We have Cisco. We have Sonos. Those are sort of the big ones that are gonna happen. Bath and Body Works, obviously the meme movement. What I wanted to say though, Sonos, we're excited about their earnings. We think they're going to crush it.
Yes.
The ticker symbol for Sonos is SONO. SEV, which is Sono, solar powered EV, IPOs tomorrow. If it does go off, like if it does have a lot of hype, how many people buy Sono by accident? Sonos by accident.
I can't tell. I'm sure it's going to happen.
I'm just going to buy Sonos just to buy it.
This always takes me back to when Zoom IPO'd.
Yeah.
When Zoom IPO, ticker symbol is ZM.
Yeah.
There's a Zoom
ZOOM.
ZOOM. It was over the counter penny stock. And that thing went ape shit that day that Zoom IPO'd. And then since that stock has now gone bankrupt and is defunct and the ticker's not even available anymore. But it was just crazy. I've seen that so many times with other ones, but Zoom was like the one that kind of like cracks me up about it. But it wouldn't surprise me.
Well, this is great because I'm going to get Sonos. Mark my words. I'm going to get Sonos tomorrow before earnings.
Okay.
Because I think they're going to have a great earnings anyway. So it's a good play. And
it's such an under the radar company.
It is. And their product's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
But let's say people start flowing in there. It's just going to be icing on the cake, people. I'm not saying you should do it. And I'm not saying that's like a sound strategy,
Definitely
like
not.
a sustainable one. But all the more reason for me to want to get into Sonos for earnings because I think they're going to have monster earnings.
Listen, you can bet on sports or you can just take a little gamble on a stock every now and then. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Which that's the equivalent of getting Sonos earnings is like betting on
the Rams last night.
I was going to say the Patriots playing the Jets.
Yeah.
Patriots are probably going to win. Jets may 1 in 100 times.
Bro, I don't know who's winning the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
I don't even have a guess at this point.
Yeah,
maybe the Packers. I don't know.
Yeah, the Packers could. The Chiefs could make a run towards the end of the year. They're still very much in.
There's good teams getting beat by bad teams like every week.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah, that game was pretty ugly last night, and I would be embarrassed if I was some of those receivers yesterday. I mean, that was bad. Tyler Higbee was embarrassing last night.
Yeah.
Like just the drops he had and the fumble, like the bobbling of the ball that led to the pick six.
Yeah.
Coaching
was terrible too.
Yeah, I
Some of
mean,
the play calls were just like, what were they thinking?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I didn't have too much of an issue with the play calling. I mean, clearly they need a little bit better of a running game. I thought
the
it was
field goal was weird at the end of the half.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But those drops are like NFL players should not make those drops, and I think
I agree 100%.
they need to. That was bad because like Stafford had some overthrows, but like he put some balls on the money. But if I was a Rams fan, I actually would not be that worried. Hopefully it was one of those like get it out of your system.
I thought that maybe they thought that the week before too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can make the same argument about the Ravens.
100%.
Yeah, like
yeah,
their play calling was
terrible.
Not very good.
Thursday's game was just ridiculous.
I couldn't understand it. And
it was bad.
On top of that, they've had two like pretty silly losses.
Yep.
Although the Dolphins defense they actually looked really good.
Yeah, I
don't think that was I don't know.
I don't know if the Dolphins defense is a fluke.
Yeah, I don't think it was. I don't think it was like Ravens having a bad day. I think it was bad play calling, but like I thought the Dolphins D looked for real.
I don't know how you blitz that much and don't try to throw some sort of slant.
Yeah.
I mean, there was so much open. I don't know. Anyway, we're getting off on a tangent, but we love our sports too. Just thought it was worth mentioning. But that's going to do it for today's show, guys. We appreciate you hanging out. If you guys are just tuning in at the end of the stream, we did cover some of the Tattooed Chef drama as and indicated in the title. Real quick, just wanted to recap. Tattooed Chef delayed their earnings report. Their 10K or their 10Q is now going to be coming out on the 22nd of this month. It was supposed to come out today. It did not. They did actually give us some numbers as far as revenue is concerned and earnings per share, all that good stuff. But they missed on that horribly as well. So just all things bad for Tattooed Chef. And that was kind of like the summary there. But we have exciting times tomorrow. Target reports in the morning. Lowe's reports in the morning as well. Then we have NVIDIA that reports after hours. Sonos, a couple other. What were the other ones?
Nobody else. I mean, Bed Bath & Beyond.
The big one's NVIDIA.
NVIDIA is definitely the one we got our eye on. And then two IPOs tomorrow. We have the Sono EV IPO, ticker symbol SEV.
Yeah.
And then we have Sweetgreen IPO. So all those things, we're definitely going to have a lot on the docket. Guys, please hit that thumbs up just to be generous. Consider that your philanthropic move for the day.
Thanks, guys, so much. We'll see you tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. And that's the show.
Bye.